Greetings. I'm your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. Welcome to another edition of the Wasim Muhammad Show. And I am as excited as I've always been, and I'm always excited. But I want to first thank the mayor of this wonderful city, Mayor Dana Red, and her staff, particularly Ms. Novella Starks Henson. And I also want to thank the school board that I sit as a member on with our school board president, Ms. Martha Wilson, and vice president, Ms. Felicia Reyes Morton. And I also want to thank the school superintendent, Superintendent Payman Rahanaford, for the wonderful opportunity that I have to broadcast to you here, the Wasim Muhammad Show, here at this beautiful, beautiful facility here in Camden at the Camden City School District TV studio. And as always, I am always delighted about the guest opportunity to bring to you guests that can inspire and our young people and our older people that for that better behalf, and to give the information that they have to give with some wonderful people. Once again, we are still in Black History Month, and we know Black history is 365 days a year. But if we're going to give the opportunity to talk about it, then we're going to talk about it. But nevertheless, I'm here with a wonderful, wonderful guy who I've always had the great respect for, and who did some great things here in the city of Camden and representing our city throughout the nation and throughout the world for that point. Prince Badi Ajamu.
Thank you. Brother.
Greetings, brother.
Thank you very much, brother.
It's glad to have you here. It's been long overdue.
Yes.
And I know that the community is waiting to have you here, and it's great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
So to those who have made, I know in my age group, we know who you are, and then some of our young people, and this is the thing that we plan on doing with this show, is preserving our legacy.
Right.
And if we don't preserve it, then we can't ask others to do it for us. That we must do for ourselves. So to the younger audience who may not be familiar with you, please tell them about Prince Badi Ajamu.
Okay. As you will know, I'm a native of Camden, born and raised here in Camden.
Yes, sir.
I had a pretty nice sized family that I come from. I've lived quite a few places in Camden.
Yes, sir.
I lived in North Camden for a while.
Yes, sir.
With my father. I lived downtown with my grandmother.
Yes, sir.
And I lived in East Camden with my mother. So, I'm pretty known throughout these different areas.
Yes, sir.
And at a point in my life when I began to start fending for myself and taking care of myself, I moved out in Centerville. And I lived in a place at that time, it was called Shelton Terrace.
Yes, sir.
So I stayed out there
Yes,
for some time, yes. And been raised in the Camden City school system for the most part. And then I moved.
You want to give those schools a shout out there?
Yes,
Since it's the school board channel.
A little bit of Woodford-Wilson.
Yes.
Yes. I went to East Camden Middle and Pine Poynt.
Yes, sir.
And in elementary school, I went to schools called J. Molina right now, what it used to be called Northeast.
Correct.
And
yes,
then before Northeast, it was Cooper's Point.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's where I got my fundamental education from. I did a little bit of college courses online.
Yes.
Very convenient for me, to say the least. And I've always liked sports and found boxing one day.
Yes, sir.
Found boxing, I was outside of a barbershop one day.
Yes, sir.
And me and another gentleman, he was a little older than me. At the time when you're 11 and 12 years young, and you got another guy, 15, that's a big difference. It's a big difference.
It's like years away.
Yeah, it's like light years away. You know what I'm saying?
As far as experience and
what you've experienced.
Yes,
stuff,
sir.
You know what I'm saying? So he and I, we got into a physical disagreement, and we were having, and we started to engage in our disagreement in front of a barbershop. Owned and ran by Mr. Jim Fortune.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Jimmy. Jimmy. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good brother Jimmy.
That is
yes,
correct.
Sir.
That is correct. Who actually came outside the barbershop and just talked me and a gentleman to coming into the gym to settle our differences.
Yes, sir.
So when we did that, he told me one day I might be able to make some money off of this.
Yes, sir.
Off the talent of boxing.
Yes, sir.
So, but at the time, they weren't training any young children in the gym. They were training all older guys. So I wound up being in the gym with all the older guys. So I got a chance to watch a lot of things.
You want to give a shout out to that gym? Which gym was that at the time?
That was called the Camden Boys Center, right on Mountain Pike.
Okay, I do remember.
Yeah, it was on Mountain Pike, East Camden.
Correct, yes, sir.
And I met some of Camden's finest fighters there. You know what I mean? From Mike Tinley to Anthony English, you know what I mean? The Gregg Wanamaker.
Correct, yes, sir.
You know, the TCs, you know what I'm saying? There was quite a Roy Price. There was a lot of good fighters that came through there. Louis Rivera, you know what I mean? Pedro Rivera. I knew all those guys. You know, I was always the young junior, you know what I mean, in the gym. Yep, and Mr. Jimmy just took, you know, he took an interest in me, and he just started showing me the rules of Marcus's Queensberry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it just took from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it took from there.
And before you go on a little further, I think it's interesting because that's what we want to do is highlight that history and have you tell it yourself. And we record it, and it's ours. We keep it, and it's preserved for us and our community.
Yes.
A name is as good as gold, and that name, Prince Badi Ajamu. You want to tell the young people what that name means, because sometimes we take it for granted, and that's the root of who we are and what we are. And
Thank you.
You know, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. The name Prince Badi Ajamu was a name that was blessed by my father. Okay, all my sisters and brothers, in short, they basically have African names.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It's African Islamic names.
Yes, sir.
Put it that way, okay?
Yes, sir.
And the name Prince is not only just a son of a king, you know what I'm saying? But the name Prince is one of admirable characteristics. You know, Badi is uniquely incomparable.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? They say there's only one of me been made, you know what I mean, by the Creator.
Yes, sir.
And Ajamu means he fights for what he wants.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? So that's the name that's been given to me, and that's the name that's stuck on me.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, because a lot of times people they're not used to calling you your whole name, so sometimes they trip up on the last name. So I've been telling people, just Prince Badi is fine.
Yes, sir. That's what the community know about. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They might get tripped up on that last part, through all them syllables there.
Exactly.
Yes, yes, sir.
So I would tell them, just Prince Badi is fine. And that stuck on me, and funny I should say, but everybody that met me and heard my name never forgot my name.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Prince Badi.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Never forgot my name. Been all over the country and out of the country.
Yes, sir.
You know, and boxing has done that for me.
Yes, I just want to give a quick shout out to my brother-in-law, Brother Harvey Doc.
Yes.
Who I was just talking to, and he was saying that, you know, I know Prince, he's doing a great job in refereeing now.
Yes, he does.
That's moving up the ladder. We're very proud of him, but he was like, even can you know Prince Badi? I said, do I know Prince? You can't be in Camden and not know Prince Badi, the impact that you made on our city during those roaring 80s that Camden was really moving, and we really appreciate you did it all the way up into the 90s, and still are. We're going to talk about all those wonderful things, the impact that we talk about, because we have a whole hour to tell the story. But so if you want to go back and proceed and you know, talking about how your foundation, how you got into boxing and
real
things
quick,
like that.
I appreciate that. But real quick, I will touch on the Harvey Doc real quick.
Yes,
when I had met him, he was always telling me it was someday he would be a referee in boxing, because he used to box.
Yes, sir. That's
and you know, when two fighters meet each other, you know, there's like a unspoken respect that we have for one another just from when we meet one another. It's generally like that with fighters.
Yes, right.
And he and I talked, and we hit it off the very first time we'd ever talked. You know what I mean? And when I see him now in these fights and refereeing, I'm so elated to see him. You know what I mean? And I just kind of look at the livelihood and the lifespan that a referee has.
Yes,
a referee referees fights for much longer as a fighter fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when I think about that, I thought I want to feel that and say that Doc made a great choice in becoming a referee, because he gets the chance to do something that we've always talked about, and that is make sure that things transpire in a fair light.
Yes, sir.
And that's what a referee does.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yeah. And it's funny that you talk about, because you're talking about the Camden City's first heavyweight champion, and Jersey Joe Walcott.
Yes.
The great history. And we're going to talk more about that later, but he later got into refereeing.
I heard,
and
yes.
different things like that. Actually,
Yes.
refereed one of Muhammad Ali's championship fights.
Wow, now is that
He was the
historical?
referee. That's historical, you know. So we're gonna get to all that. But go ahead,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
finish your story.
I was
Yes,
just
sir.
touching on the referee, Harvey Dock. You know what I mean? And I'm very glad that he became a referee because, like I said, he gets a chance to make sure the scales of balances are balanced in the right areas, which is when two people are engaged in fighting.
Yes.
Because I've been in fights whereas if I had a different referee, I trust that
Yes,
the
sir.
fight would have a different result.
Yes, sir. And how important is that to those of us who don't box professionally? What you're talking about, and bring that home for the layman because of what can happen and what weight it can do and what it can move, because that's your language.
Yes,
and you know
yes.
it. And then all we as fans, we're just watching. We say, hit him here, hit him left,
Okay.
hit him high, and we don't know until you get into that ring. Somebody hits you, and all that go out the door. You know.
So glad you asked. So glad you asked. It just
Yes,
reminds me the first thing I'll give all the praise due to Allah, because the law don't make mistakes.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? And in saying that, I'm saying that because we spoke about the referee was what brought us here, what brought us to the topic. And a referee's job is so important. It can determine if a fighter who have a chance to win the fight and could have possibly very clearly won, it'll show or allow the fighter to either fight his fight and win that fight, or be deprived of fighting his type of fight and not win the fight. Because it actually happened to me in the biggest fight of my career.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? My job.
And I'm glad you're
Go ahead.
going into that
Yes.
because a lot of people who are fans, and we'll watch boxing and we'll see somebody in the interview, and then sometimes they'll think that the person is complaining or just a sore loser or something like that, because we don't know. You never know till you get in that ring, and that's why it's always great to talk to the experts who was in the ring.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Who live that lifestyle to say that and really mean it. And after it's all said and done, and there's no period at the end of your name yet, but you can still highlight those wonderful things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And so to speak, in all actuality, the biggest fight of my life was against Roy Jones Jr., is one of boxing's all-time great. You know
Yes,
what I mean? I grew up sort of basically watching Roy.
Yes,
you know what
sir.
I mean? From the time that he got robbed in sole career in the amateur Olympics to the
Yes,
time
sir.
that he became pound for pound the best fighter on the planet.
Yes, sir, before Floyd Mayweather. That's
Yes,
what they was
before
calling him.
Floyd Mayweather.
That's
And
right.
actually,
Yes,
it's
sir.
so deep because a lot of people don't know this, but I went into the lifestyle and the personal life of Roy Jones so deep that I found out that there was a time where he took today's pound for pound champion under his wing. He took Floyd down to his house and had Floyd down to his house for a while.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And it's deep because then, the legacy continues. You know what I mean? And because Roy Jones was once pound for pound the baddest man on the planet, and then Floyd Mayweather Jr. became,
pound
so
for pound. That's
pound for
right.
pound the best. And,
Yes.
and a lot of people don't know that there was a time when Roy Jones took Floyd down to his house. You know what I mean? But in moving along, I never thought or had an idea that I would ever fight a Roy Jones Jr. Not that I never wanted to fight him, but that was never my thought. I never thought I would be fighting him because I came up watching him so
Yes,
much.
sir.
I never thought I
Yes,
would
sir.
wind up fighting him because
Yes, sir.
you could say he was a great inspiration. It was a great inspiration to me. And with that being the case, you don't imagine yourself fighting someone who inspired you.
Correct.
You know what I
Great
mean?
like that. Yes.
Yes.
It do have effect on the psychology of the mind. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Because
sir.
here I am, I'm thinking in my mind, here I got to fight the man that basically inspired me. You know what I mean? To greater levels and greater levels in the professional sport of boxing.
Yes,
And then
sir.
here I am fighting this man. Now I have to try and destroy this man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? It's almost like destroying the image. Not that I worship the
Correct,
image,
yes, sir.
but I honored it.
Correct. It's kind of like, it reminds me of Larry Holmes with Muhammad Ali.
Absolutely.
When he was whooping on Muhammad Ali in his older career.
Absolutely.
And it was like, he had the respect for, he was telling the ref,
Right.
stop the fight. I really don't want
Right.
to beat up my icon and
Right.
different things like that. I know we got a lot we're going to go into because even on that note, I want the community to know that you were the champion, light heavyweight champion.
Absolutely.
Before that, before the Roy Jones saga
Absolutely.
and all that, because I know we sat and watched it at the Social Club at the time on TV, and a lot of people came out, and it was a great thing, because Camden, how Camden feel about his sports. So
yes.
You're not going to go nowhere, right?
Not
You're going to stay right here. We got more segments to talk about this, and there we go, community. I'm here with Prince Badi Ajamu. A good brother, warm-hearted, good spirit brother who had a lot to talk about, not only then, but a lot to talk about what he's doing now. He's doing some wonderful things now. You heard how he was mentored in that city, and as we talk about mentoring here in our community and need and the importance of it, and we're going to talk about a lot more. So don't you touch that remote, as my daughter say, Dad, we don't have dolls anymore. Don't you touch that remote. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with the Wasim Muhammad Show.
Hi, I'm Danene Beckam, and I am very excited to be the new Family Operations Coordinator at Forest Hill. Studies show that when parents are involved, students achieve greatness, so I look forward to working with all of you.
And welcome back to the Wasim Muhammad Show, and as always, is having great conversation here with my brother and friend, Brother Prince Badi Ajamu, and who is one of the East Camden finest, as we would like to say it. In Camden, everybody got a definition where part they come from, even though we may have grew up all around, Camden. I never knew that you lived in Centerville, but you were particularly known as East Camden, one of East Camden finest, maybe because it's Woodrow Wilson.
Right, probably.
Yes, and that fact there. So he was talking about, fighting your mentor,
right,
Roy Jones, who I think that many of us, we were just like just to sit in the same room with him, but to compete with him on that level, and you competed well. It wasn't, as they say, wasn't no pushover.
No.
Ain't no easy pushover.
No.
And on either side, even though you was there. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
That fight? Yes. I think that's what the community definitely want to hear about, because that's if they're one of the most historical things that we have to talk about.
I thought, that fight with Roy, like I said, it was the biggest fight of my life. I thought it was a dangerous fight for him, because as talented and as excellent of a fighter that Roy was, he was at a make or break point in his career. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of knew he was. And it was my job to, it's crazy to say, but it's to break him.
Correct. Yes, sir. To make you start thinking about some things.
Yes. It was my job to make you think about some things. And it's funny that you should say that, because during the course of the fight, there were some things going on over in his corner. I didn't even notice. Some people have come back to me, in this day and time, and told me, they said, man, listen, man, he was telling his corner, he's trying to do this, he's trying to do that to you, and it's just not working.
Yes,
I never knew. I never knew that that was going on. But people have come back to me right now today, a buddy of mine, close buddy of mine, and said, listen, man, he was really having some problems, man, with you, because you could hear him telling his trainer in the corner, listen, man, I'm trying to do that, man, I'm not getting through. And that's when they started saying, go to his body, go to his body. Yeah.
Yes. Now, is there any regrets that you have on your boxing career? Because just before you answer that question, just tell the audience the championship belts that you held.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Quite a few. My first belt that I've ever won was a Pennsylvania state championship title. To me, that's not an easy title to win, because there's so many, the fighting talent coming out of Philadelphia, which is the home of Bernard Hopkins, Benny Briscoe, many great fighters come out of there, Meldrick Taylor, you name it, Tyrell Biggs. To win a title in Philadelphia, even though it was a state title, was like winning a world title, because of the competition was so stiff, so rich.
So you're not talking about the Blue Horizon days,
exactly.
are you?
Those days too. I was there. I made my pro debut there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and then I was moved by one of Philadelphia's well-known promoters, Russell J. Peltz. You know what I mean? And he's been around for some decades, moving fighters. You know what I mean? And like I said, Philadelphia has so many great fighters to come through there. So to be able to go over there and just hold your own,
Yes, sir.
let alone be able to become dominant, but just to hold your own
Correct.
is a feat in and of
Because
itself.
I know Blue Horizon used to have Camden versus Philly night.
Yes.
We would go over there on the weekend sometime
Yes.
and have a great time, man. You really miss those places like that
Yes.
for entertainment.
Yes, historical.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes,
much
sir.
so. And so what happened is when I signed up to represent nationally, I signed up with the Philly team.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for signing up with the
Didn't
Philly
know that.
team
Go ahead.
is because it was going to give the truth about my caliber and where I belong.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came and I signed up with Philly team, I had to beat whoever was the top guy in Philly at the light heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
I had to beat them. And when I did fight there, I want to say that I had all knockouts besides one. A kid by the name of Champ, William Scales. He went the distance with me. But the fight was nowhere close. I mean, if you sat a two-year baby down and said who won the fight,
I like that
she
terminology.
can tell you who won the fight. That's how much of a
Yes, sir.
disparity the fight was, and it's
Yes,
deep
sir.
because I like the thought of it because the appreciative part about it is that right now today, William Skills still feel like he fought a great fight. And I kind of think that maybe it's because he didn't get knocked out.
Okay.
Because everybody else got knocked out.
Yes. Yes. So he thought he was in there. He went the distance.
Yeah,
you know?
he went the distance. Yeah. Yep,
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from fighting over there, I had a chance to fight quite a few and work with quite a few world champions. And with that being the case, you know what I mean, I just take that experience and run with it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
So are there any regrets that you have on your career that you think you should have did something differently? Are you satisfied where you at right now in your boxing career? Because that's not the end of you,
That's right.
Prince
That's
Badi,
right.
you know what I'm saying?
Regrets. You know something? That's very, very interesting. I don't see any regrets that I had in
Yes,
anything. If I had to do it all over again, it wouldn't be much different.
Go ahead. Yes,
You know what I mean? I had the right people around me. You know what I mean? Everything didn't go perfect like I wanted it to go. But guess what? When things don't go perfect the way you wanted it to go, it tells what you're made of.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Because some people are only good when the script is going good.
That's right. You sound like a man who have accomplished.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Doing
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Yes,
and, when the script is no longer going the way that you planned it to go, what are you going to do then?
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
So,
sir.
you know, I had a lot of time and a lot of opportunities to allow the real me to take control, to take surface. You know what I mean? And,
Come on.
and it was good because a lot of times when the real you take control and take surface, you earn respect from people. I don't
ahead.
like people just give me respect.
Go ahead.
I'm willing to earn it because when
ahead.
you earn it, it stays.
Go ahead. Yes, it lasts long.
Yeah, it lasts
Yes,
so
sir.
much longer. So that's generally the way I am, and that's generally the way I am in the communities. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
sir. I tend to think boxers have so much discipline, and you know, if you can transfer that kind of discipline that boxers have, I mean, talking about getting up, running early in the morning, coming with a certain diet, and talk to our young people and maybe who are just listening, that kind of discipline that it takes to be a boxer.
Absolutely.
How it transfer over to real life.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the discipline required for boxing is almost like if you know anything about the life of Asians, the monks. Becoming a monk.
Yes, sir.
They move from out of society into a monastery.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? And that's sort of kind of like the life that a boxer takes on when he wants to be something. He wants to become great. You know what I mean? Well, even if he wants to just become good.
Go ahead.
Exceptionally good.
Yes,
He's
sir.
sort of kind of like got to take on the life of a monk, meaning that he got to get his proper rest. He has to get his proper nutrition. He has to get, everything has to be done in a balance.
Yes, sir.
Can't be too much of one thing and not enough of another thing because on fight night, it definitely shows
It's
up.
gonna come out,
You know,
man.
it's going to come out. Whatever you've
Yes,
been
sir.
doing, it's going to tell a story on you.
Yes,
if it don't do it in fight 1, it's going to do it in fight 10.
Yes, sir.
Eventually, it's going to do it. So
Yes,
the
sir.
beautiful thing about boxing is it tells the truth for who you are and how you handle what comes upon you, because there's so many things that come upon you in boxing, man, that a lot of times you didn't even know that you was going to be confronted with it. So I like that because it just shows people the bare naked truth.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And people appreciate the bare naked truth. That's what everybody be wanting to get down to.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's TV, radio, it's like the TV or the radio station that can get to the truth the best.
Yes, sir.
That's what people want to tune into.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Because inquiring minds want to know.
That's right.
Yes,
sir. I think that's well put. And you know, you learn so much, and when you sit down and talk to people, that's why I love the lively art of conversation, because you can never stop learning. Even as a minister, we have to feed on the universe, and we feed on people. Who's better in the universe to feed on than the people?
That's right.
And if you want to learn certain things, I mean, so many things that you said, putting things together, how you made the analogy of like a monk in his monastery, that discipline.
Yes.
And it's so very, very important, you know?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. So I know we winded down on this segment, but we had a few more minutes to go in this segment. You're talking about your career. You said you don't have no regrets, and that's wonderful that some people, that you can walk away from boxing in time. Not that you walked away.
Yes.
It's time. You know, time waits for no one. That old Michael Jackson song.
That's right.
You know, time waits for no one. That you still can have no regrets. And that speaks to you, the person. As I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm tuning in more from some of the answers that you give. And this is what we want to do, that maybe you will enlighten and shine the light onto some young person who's listening out there in the studio. Now, real quick before we go on. So what are you doing now, Brother Badi?
What am I doing now? Currently, I help people who are not disciplined in their lives develop some discipline and show them how easy it can become.
Go ahead.
Because it's the little hinges to swing the big doors.
Come on.
If you tighten up on the little things, the big things will do what they're supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Predominantly women. I have a gym. We have a gym on 715 Florence Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's right down the street from H.B. Wilson School. And what we do there is easy to find. And what we do there is we take people in there at times that's convenient for them, and we work with them on all the weak spots in their body until they become balanced. You know what I mean? So you really don't have any real weak points.
Yes, sir.
You know
To a
what I mean?
parent listening or somebody in the community listening, if they can get in contact with you, there's a contact number, or
There's a contact number.
Or you want us to put it on the screen if you can't think of it right now.
You sure
Yes, sir.
can.
Yeah.
You can call 856.
I know today a lot of people, I don't know nobody's, I don't even know my wife's number now because it's the names on the cell phone.
Yes.
So that's why I left the open-ended question that we'll put it down on the screen as they edit this show. But they can reach out to you. But you at least told us where it's at for that, because I know people, I don't know nobody's number.
Right.
Yes, sir.
715 Florence Street.
Yes, at 715 Florence Street.
Yes.
And they can come out there anytime in the evening. It's open.
That's right. It's open from 5 to 9.
5 to 9?
5 to 9.
Yes, I know they can have no greater person mentoring them there and working with them than a former champ who can identify with them. That's from Camden.
Yes. And
that's from where they are at. And they can identify that.
Absolutely.
I can't do it because I'm from Camden.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's something that you said, that because whether we acknowledge it or we don't acknowledge it, we're all in the fight.
That's right.
Maybe a fight to master this business, or maybe a fight to master your weight. There's a fight going on with everybody in some facet of your life.
Go ahead, yes, sir.
Whether you want to accept it, believe it or not, but the reality is we're all in some type of fight.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So.
And it's what's better to talk to than a former boxing champion from the city of Camden, who can show us how to get out of that with that discipline. And I know when we come back, we're going to go a little more into your childhood growing up in Camden, because we want to inspire those young people who's listening and get into that. If you want to segue into that, one of the most, I know you had the mentoring of Brother Jimmy.
Yes.
What else turned your life around? Or kept it on the right track? You know what I'm saying? Your father.
My dad, because he put me, he had me study martial arts before I started boxing under Sensei Thor.
Okay, yes, sir.
From the OEO building.
That's right. Yes, sir.
And I took classes up there. And my dad's brother became a black belt there.
Yes, sir.
So I sort of kind of like wanted to be like my dad's brother, Uncle Bowleg, you know what I'm saying? And I started out martial arts. But then when Mr. Jimmy told me that I could someday make money at that one day, that sounded real lively too.
Yes. As you were chipping somebody. Yes.
That became real lively too. So, you know what I mean? That brought me back, and I just started coming back from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, started coming back from there, and it definitely did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use that as a abbreviated moment to come back on the next segment of this part of this show. And like you said, you ain't going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere. We're here in the community. We're talking about people from our city, Camden, that's doing some amazing and wonderful things. This great brother here, with a warm spirit. If you saw him, he was doing something positive. He was running, and when the others was sleeping, and he was out there in the community working. Always had a kind word to say, and I want that story to get to our young people in the community so they can learn what it is to be successful. And as he said, that fight thing, everybody's fighting something. And that's what life is all about. That's the real jihad, is to fight against your own self. So don't go nowhere, don't touch that remote. We'll be right back with the Wasim Muhammad Show. Call someone, let them know, or let somebody know that we're on the air. Tune in to the Wasim Muhammad Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Arriaga, and I'm the Family and Operations Coordinator at Davis Family School. You can contact me at 856-966-8920 with any questions, concerns, or if there's anything I can help you with. Thank you.
And we're back, and sitting here in conversation with Brother Prince Badi Ajamu, and beautiful name, and the name speaks volume to who you are. You know, when I found the meaning of your name, as you just told us, it's let me know why you are that brother that you are, and that with the vibes that I get from you. But when you was going away, we was talking about some of the things that kept you on the right track, and some of the history that you had going. Is there anyone else that you want to thank, that you community members that helped you to shape you and mold you, and how important is that for the whole community? It says, as we old saying says, it takes a village to raise a child. How do you feel about that?
I'm in total agreement with that.
Yes, sir.
You know, there's been quite a few people. I mean, talking about people up front and personal, especially I would say even right now with my current trainer, Denny Brown.
Oh, yes,
you know what I mean? Native of Camden.
Yes, sir. It's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
sir.
yes. He had a whole lot to do with helping me. You know what I mean? With helping me grow and mature me. And we would always do sidebars and spend time before things even took flight the way that they took flight. You know what I mean? I can't leave my father out because he started me at so young.
Yes, sir.
So young, you know what I mean? A lot of people think that when they see the finished product, they don't really know what goes into it.
Go ahead.
But ever since I could remember, my father has always been challenging me physically, you know what I mean? He would spar with me and stuff like that. And you know, my father, he boxed in the Marine Corps.
Okay,
you know what I mean? So genetically, it was naturally in you. Yes. And my mother was very, very athletic too. She liked to fight. You know what I mean? May she rest in peace. But she was a fighter.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? At heart.
Yes, sir.
So with them two being what they are, and then breeding me, you know, and making me, it made me a natural. You know what I mean? I mean, when they told me I could get paid for doing something that I really love doing,
yes, sir.
I said, wow, it don't get no better than that.
Yes, sir. That's that natural knack for boxing. And, you know, boxers just love to do. So if you find somebody that's love that doing that rather than somebody who's doing it from that passion,
absolutely,
you know what I mean? It makes a world of difference in anything you approach
absolutely
in life. You know,
absolutely, I wholeheartedly concur.
Yes, sir. So, you know, any trainers that you would like to give a shout out to who help you along the way, former trainers. And,
former trainers.
And we talk about, and you talk about the business of boxing.
Yes.
You know, you were always into doing things for yourself.
Yes.
You know, we want to talk a little bit about
always
that for young people who's boxing. You know, that do for self model is what we, you know, aim to please and please to aim.
Absolutely.
You know, on that one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I'll start off first by talking about the trainers first.
Yes,
because before, after my time working with Mr. Jimmy, I had the opportunity and the pleasure of working with a great buddy of mine who used to box too, but he became a trainer. His name was Jeff Williams, and he had a brother, Ralph Williams.
Brother Jeff and Ralph.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
they was very instrumental,
Yes,
and they
sir.
helped me too.
Two
You know
great
what I mean?
brothers. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one of the main things that really sparked me with them is they always told me, even from the time I was young, they said, man, you don't know what you got.
Yes, sir.
But when you find out what you got,
yes, sir.
you're going to do some things, man.
Yes, sir. Is Jeff still down there at the North Camden gym? He's still working? Yeah, I know Ralph is an educator in the Camden School District as well, too. Yes, sir. Yeah.
That's exactly what they used to say. You know what I mean? And, man, Ralph and Jeff used to, you know, spend their time with me, man. It was well spent time, man.
Yes, sir.
Because it's time that's still manifesting the fruits of it.
Yes, sir.
You know
Another Woodrow Wilson finest.
That's
there,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And great brothers. Great,
Yes.
great. Always had great words of encouragement because Ralph was had a nice arm pitching.
Oh
at
yeah,
one time.
that's
He was
my
a great
main man
pitcher.
right
Yes,
there.
Sir. He was
My
a
main man,
pitching
yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. But
Yeah.
and so was anything else as far as any other trainers that you work with?
Besides
way?
Jeff and Ralph, and mainly my trainer now, Danene, who's been around for years, I would say, and Mr. Jimmy, there was an older man
Correct.
who used to watch over me by the name of Sam Watson. He was the same trainer that used to watch over Mike Tinley, Louis Rivera, Andy English.
Wow.
This old bow-legged man, he would sit back in the chair and smoke a cigar, and he looked like he'd sleep. But he'd be watching you the whole time.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Be watching you the
One of
whole
them naturals.
time.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Sam Watson.
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? And he lived on Utah back in the day.
Okay,
May he rest
yes,
in
sir.
peace.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
him. He would let me come in the gym and work out before all the older guys got there.
Yes, sir.
But he was hard. He was real hard.
Yes, sir.
He said, I saw what you did. You need to do it again.
Yes, sir. He think he sleep by.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
sir.
think he's sleeping. Let him watch it.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
he didn't put no cut on his
Is
words.
that something that you think that young people, not only in boxing, they can take in life, is that kind of constructive criticism and people to stay on you? How important is that we can tell to our young people
you
that
know what?
constructive criticism?
The constructive criticism by people who care about you is underrated, to say the least, coming from me.
Yes, sir.
Because you don't realize just how important it is until when you have to call on the things that you've worked on. And when you got to call on the things that you've worked on, it's going to come down to whether you went back and did it right when they told you to. Because that'll tell whether you can get it right at the time where it's needed.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So I was able to always able to reach back down and get it right because I was willing to go the extra mile, and there's so many people that are not willing to go the extra mile now today. But I kind of think that that's bred into our people. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of different ways that that's bred into our people. We talk about that, we're going to go into some science. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very, very appreciative and I'm very thankful that I had the caliber of people around me that I've had around me. I'm very thankful. You know what I mean? And the history and the relationships go deep. You know what I mean?
Sir.
I'm talking about rubbing elbows with even some of the Thompson family.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I'm saying? You know, I mean,
Someone from downtown.
Thompson,
which is
yes.
100 of
Yes.
them Thompsons.
Yes,
Because you
yes.
got to a fight with one of them.
Absolutely.
You had to go through, and they were tight. You had to go through about
Absolutely.
10,000 of them.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so,
yeah, they're great people, though.
Yeah,
great
very
family.
great people.
Yes,
Love
they
that
are.
family.
Yeah,
you know
yes,
what I'm
they
saying? Love that family. And there's been quite a few people who was very, very instrumental. You know what I mean?
What do you think? Why do you think there's a disconnect with that, with our young people today? Or do you think it's a disconnect with
I
that?
think it's a disconnect.
Yes, sir.
A lot of it is due to the upbringing and the state remove a lot of power from parents.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the state removes a lot of power from parents. Parents used to have the power to raise their children the way they chose to raise them. And now it's not that way because you take, isolated incidents and you blow them up. You put all this stuff on them and you blow them up, and then you use the isolated incidents to control the other incidents that you don't see, just so you can get the effect of people not having control over the children.
There's a lot in that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of that going on. So, with that being going on, I'm just thankful that boxing and the training of boxing is a universal language.
Yes, sir.
If you ever want to develop a respect from an individual, whether man, woman, or child. When you get them in the gym and you get them to start to working out.
Yes, sir.
And they're working out for their benefit. A lot of times, what they really want, whether they just wanted to work out just because they seen you do it, or whether they wanted to work out because that was in their heart, that will show itself.
Yes, sir. Whatever comes in,
it'll
come out in the wash.
That's right. That's right. And that's the beauty of it.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a beautiful thing, because how many people in your life can you meet in the course of a day's time, let's just say, and they shake your hand and tell you you're a nice person, and ask them, if I ever need you for something small, would you be there for me? I think that you will probably get just about the same answer from everybody. Most people may say yes.
Correct.
But would they mean it?
That's right.
Would they mean it?
And it'll come out.
And it'll come out. And that's what you gotta love about the training of boxing.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it comes out in boxing, and it doesn't take long for it to show itself.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you a story real quick.
Take your time.
One time, I was in the gym, and a guy, he was 249 pounds is 250 pounds to me. You know what I mean? If you say this guy is 249 or this guy is 250, it's no different to me.
Yes, sir.
You know, because when you get that high up in weight,
correct.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? One ton and 100 pounds is still the same.
Yes,
that's
sir.
impact.
Yes, sir.
So so the guy, he's looking for somebody to box. So I'm over Philly. So the trainer says, "But if you want to move around with it, you can move around with it." Now I'm saying, I don't mind moving around with him. I'm thinking like we're gonna go in there and we're just gonna work. From the time that the bell rung, the first punch he threw at me, and the punch hit my hands, it knocked me clean across the ring.
So that weight did make a difference.
He knocked me clean across the ring. I said, okay.
Yes, sir.
Knocked me clean across the ring. But it taught me, though,
yes, sir,
that even if you're outsized or outweighted or outstrengthed in boxing,
yes, sir,
there's a way that you can balance out the scales.
Come on.
And that way is called energy and technique.
Go ahead.
Energy and technique. Because after 3 rounds of him trying to bully me around and me staying out of his way for about 3 rounds and making him miss enough shots,
yes, sir,
we was equally matched by the end of the second round going into the third.
So you're going to make this an even fight.
It was an even fight by then because he was tired.
Yes, sir.
He was tired and he didn't want no more problems, but
sir.
And he couldn't say it out of his mouth because he had been using so much of his energy to demonstrate his strength.
Yes, sir.
And I get that.
Yes,
he knew he was the bigger, stronger guy, but he didn't understand that boxing was an art.
That's right.
And after you can't do what you do to give you the advantage in that square circle where the sweet sciences apply,
yes, sir,
you have to man up.
Yes, sir. How did you keep your discipline and coming up in Camden at that time? With the discipline it takes to be a boxer. And, we come through the roaring 80s and early 90s. They were some very interesting times in the city of Camden, for lack of better words. How did you keep that discipline? Because I know you were you had to be very, very disciplined. I know me, when I was coming out of high school, I should have stayed in Philadelphia and played in the Big Five. That should have been my best choice, but I knew I didn't have the discipline to stay home, close to Camden at that time. I knew I needed to get on a plane to get out of here, to change my environment just a little bit so I can focus a little more.
Okay.
How did you keep all of that? When you said the word balance there, you made me think of that. How do you keep that? Because it may be a young brother or sister, for that vantage point, just trying to find their way. And sometimes, when you're young, influence you. How did you stay focused?
The number one way that I stayed focused was because I realized that focus was my tool. Focus was my power. And my mind translated this way. When you lose focus, you lose power.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because what is focus? Concentrated energy.
Come on.
To go in the direction in which you choose for it to go in.
Yes, sir.
When you lose that focus, in translation, that's a loss of concentrated energy going in one particular direction. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
what did I do? I eat, sleep, drink, entrepreneur, and everything boxing.
Yes,
the
sir.
only thing that came before boxing was Allah.
Go ahead.
That was the only thing that came
Yes,
before
sir.
boxing.
Yes,
but
sir.
after that, everything, everything was eat, sleep, drink, boxing.
Yes,
but
sir.
it was within balance.
Come on.
Because boxing and balance is like water and wet. You can't get water without the wet.
Go ahead.
You understand
Come
what I'm
on.
saying?
Yes, sir.
So with that being the case, it kept me balanced. It didn't allow me to do more of something that I did that I wanted to do. You know what I mean? You could work out one thing and you could develop a whole lot of power, but what are you going to do without the power, without the mobility, without the speed?
Correct.
So it just kept you balanced, and that's what nature is. Nature is balance.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So that's what I basically try to do, and that's what basically gave me the longevity, and it actually can give you mastery should you do it long enough.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, now you're talking about a lot. I don't know where we at in time on this particular segment because I want to go into more. And I'm trying to use the last segment to go more about you with family and personal life and what you're doing now because you talked about your children.
Yes.
And I think that's very important because we get away from that because family is the foundation of what we are talking about.
Absolutely.
And what makes us who and what we are. Here you mentioned your father a lot.
Yes.
You talked about your late mother and all those type of things. So we'll go back. You ain't going nowhere. We're going to wind down this last segment.
Okay.
And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Badi, the family man.
Look forward to
sir.
it.
So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. And very interesting topics with Camden's own Prince Badi Ajamu, light heavyweight champion, who represented Camden City and still representing Camden City well. And we wish this brother all the great energy that we can give him. So we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Brian Gregg, and I am the Family and Operations Coordinator at Cooper's Poynt School. I fell in love with the North Camden community after coaching with the North Camden Little League and planning events with the Friends of Northgate Park and mentoring neighborhood teens. And so I'm really excited to continue working in the neighborhood to help ensure that the Cooper's Poynt students and families have the resources and opportunities to succeed. I look forward to working with you, and please reach out with your questions, ideas, comments, concerns, and I can be reached at 856-298-9883. Thank you.
We're back. We're winding down on this show, on the Wasim Muhammad show. I have the privilege to sit here with some great people, and what greater people to have with us today than Prince Badi, who's a humble brother, humble spirit. And when you walking through the streets of Camden, you never know who you're walking. You might be entertaining an angel, as they say. And this brother's doing some wonderful work. And I know what we tend to do a lot on this particular show is highlight and inspire and give information and inspiration. And what greater information, inspiration we get than the root core of the basic civilization, which is family. You know, how important is family? Do you want to sit and talk about some of your family members now, your children, brothers, whoever you want to go at, because we got to get Camden back to that stage.
Wow. I will say this, family is first.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Family is first, you know what I mean? And why family is first with me, man, is because, like I said earlier, I know I spoke about my dad. I spoke about my dad because what drove my dad is my mom.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? You can't, like I said, it's almost like a water and wet
jelly,
situation.
huh?
That's right, peanut butter and jelly. Or the white that's on the rice.
Yes, sir.
So, with me speaking about my dad, I can't really speak about my dad without including my mom.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And family is first, like I said. My mom, like I said, she was a natural. You know what I mean? She was a natural fighter. But as well as her being a natural fighter, she was a people person.
Mm-hmm.
And that just made it all the better because the more people who knew my mom basically knew me because everybody always said that I look like my mom. But, I have, sisters, brothers, you know what I'm saying? I come from a decent sized family.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
You're the middle child?
I'm the middle child.
Okay,
but
yes,
you would
sir.
think I was the oldest.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I got 3 brothers older than me.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And I have a host of brothers younger than me and sisters younger than me.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? It's 10 of us all together
Yes.
with my dad. You know what I'm saying? And I have some brothers who are gone, are not with us anymore in the flesh, but the energy is still here because you can't destroy energy.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Just
So,
changes form.
That's right. It just changes form. And so I'm able to embrace it according to what it truly is.
Yes, sir.
Not the perception that people grab onto
Go
due
ahead.
to a lack of not knowing, aka ignorance.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You know, with that being said, I know my you know, before it got out of, you know, to the city and people knowing in the city, then in the country, and then out of the country, it started in the family.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and I would have like, you know, just little competitions with, you know, my brothers and stuff like that. And even they even boxed a little bit. You know what I mean? My family. You know what I mean? But I come from a decent sized family. And, you know, with me coming from that family, like I said, I probably was just one of the ones that just took it serious, took it around with it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? All within good balance.
Yes, sir.
All within good balance. And my sisters, they always supported me.
That's
You know,
very important. The support you get from your family members. That's right.
Yeah, I could say, I look at it and say, my sisters, they were my mothers on staff.
Yes, sir.
Because when your mom wasn't there, you know, your sister was there. You know what I mean? You know, you used to mom's cooking, just got the sister there.
That's right.
Yeah. So, you know, I particularly got like two of my sisters I'm very, very close to. It happens to be my older sister and my younger sister.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And they're like night and day. They're not like one another, but
Yes.
you know, they're like night and day. You know what I mean? And they held me down too, man. So you know, I couldn't do, you know, a whole lot of stuff that I was blessed and honored to be able to do without them.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
And how many of your children? I know you talk about one of your daughters play basketball. Correct?
Yeah, one of my youngest daughter, her name is Ivory. She plays basketball.
Okay.
And she actually has a chance to go overseas and play some ball, man.
Okay.
So it's funny that you said that because I trained her ever since she's been a child as far as balance. Again, balance and conditioning.
Yes,
she had a lot of energy when she was a baby.
Yes.
So I would play games with her such as, you know, like we'd be sitting right here and she'd have to go and touch the wall over there and come back within 30 seconds. And you got to see how many times you can do it within 30 seconds.
Yes.
Not knowing I'm trying to tire her out to go to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. So after that, you know what I'm saying, after she did ran back and forth, take about 5 minutes and get her tired, she'd be happy to go to bed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I know the superintendent of Camden City Schools would be happy to hear that because he was just talking about a gift someone gave his child and his a drum set. You know?
Right.
He was like, thank you to the person who gave that to him.
Right.
You need to learn that training and module.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So I tend to look at, things I've done with family, I just tend to look at that in balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
that word balance just seems to play its part in just about every aspect and every segment in my life.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And I have an older daughter.
Okay.
She's 29. Okay, her name's Davina. She works out with me in the mornings, 5 in the morning. Her and her cousins, I train them in the morning time. You know what I mean? And the things that I'm training them on, I've told them, I said, I don't want you doing this. But if you have to do it, you're able to lift and do things with your body in ways with your body that men would be blown away that you're able to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's my oldest daughter, and that's my youngest daughter, and then I got a daughter in between.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
You talking about that kind of remind me of a thing I just saw on social media that it had someone this young man pulled the hijab off of the Muslim sister there, and boy, she went to whipping on him.
Yeah.
And you could tell she was trained by somebody, and she, with this young girl, was putting something on him. I said he walked into the wrong room that day. You know what I mean? Not knowing, and that's so important. I think it's important. How important is that to young girls that they learn how to train? And as you say, you train your daughters still train. How important is that to young girls to know that they should get involved get trained and all those type of things?
Oh man, it's beyond expression if you let me tell it. But it's so important that I can't stress the amount of importance that it is. One of the things in life about an accident is called an accident is because you didn't know it was going to happen. Okay? And in the situations where an accident happened or a situation where the unexpected happens, a lot of times most people don't live their lives in a means where as though they're even halfway prepared. You know what I mean? But when a young lady is prepared to handle herself regardless of who tries what, it's a beautiful thing because a lot of women are victims, walking around here as victims.
Good teaching.
You know what I'm saying? But when you have a young lady who lives her life in a balance, okay, then I wouldn't be surprised if she did some type of physical fitness training, you know what I mean, to keep her body, mind, and heart in the same type of shape, all in uniformity.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't hurt.
That's right.
It doesn't hurt if a woman keeps herself in shape because it helps her when she goes to start her family and her childbearing.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? It helps her even in the maintaining a family or even maintaining herself, that balance. You know what I mean? Because there's certain integral things that are needed in the life of a woman throughout the community. You know what I mean? When she's conducting herself and when she's presenting herself in a balanced fashion, I think for the most case, respect begets respect.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yep. So with that being said, like I said, my oldest daughter, she comes to the gym in the morning times and she works out. She works out for an hour straight, hour now nonstop. You know what I mean? Before she goes to work.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, I can't express it enough.
Yes, sir. I think that's great that they be able to know that and we can communicate that to our young girls that's out there.
Absolutely.
They really, really have to get involved and keep themselves in shape and just on the health aspect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you got to always be willing to defend yourself and protect yourself at any time. Because I like how you put it at an accident. So as we winding down on this show, is there anything that you would want to say to the people in the community that you said, man, if I wish I could just talk to our people in our community for a moment? I want to give you opportunity because you have so much to say. And this is what we want to tell people about athletics and what athletics can do, that we become more than just the athlete that we were.
This is correct.
Athletics mold us into something.
Yes, it does.
Trains us into something.
Yes, it does.
That we have to give back to the community. Some of us may not never find that something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's through athletics, whether it's through arts and entertainment or something, some of us may never find it. But when we do find it, it makes that balance, I like that balance you talk about in life, and you be able to say something. So just take this opportunity if you would like to talk to the people in our community.
Love
in Camden,
to.
you want to say
love
that.
to.
You got it.
One of the main major things that I've always tried to advocate to the younger people, the younger generations come, and even the older crowds, is the first thing I'll tell you: never let nobody tell you you can't do something that's positive.
Go ahead.
Never. As a matter of fact, if they ever tell you that you can't do something that's positive, you're supposed to interpret that. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to interpret that in your mind. And every time you hear that you can't do something that's positive in your mind, it's supposed to ring, it's meant for you to do.
Go ahead.
That's just somebody challenging your abilities. So it's meant for you to do. So that means you need to make your mind up that you're going to go and do what you need to do in order to put yourself in a position to do the things that you were told that you couldn't do because they're positive.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And the fuel that you will get, the things that will come to your rescue as you're doing them, you will be surprised. Because I had an uncle to tell me many, many years ago, he said, listen, if you turn professional at this stage in your life, it'll be too late for you. He said, don't ever think about becoming a professional after a certain age in life. And when he said that to me, I interpreted in my mind that this means that I'm going to be pretty good. And that's what I did, because had I taken his words, I would have just I just would have went on and not did nothing. I probably just went on and just did what everybody else do.
Go ahead.
I would have got what everybody else got.
Yes, right.
Pretty much nothing.
Exactly. That's the storyline. Yes, sir.
Yes, but when he told me that I couldn't do it, and I thank Allah for this. In my mind, it meant that it was meant for me to do it because He told me that I couldn't.
Yes, sir.
So one day, I was sitting over at His house, and this is for the young ones. He says to me, when are you going to stop doing what you're doing? I said, you know what? For all intents and purposes, you know what I'm going to stop? I'm going to stop when anything else is put away that does something, when it's no longer productive. That's what I'm going to stop. But as long as Allah empowers my mind and my spirit to be productive, to be positive, to share, to overabundantly, more importantly than all things, to love, because it's the strongest power on the face of the planet, I'm going to continue to do it. So I'm going to always have a usefulness. So the answer to your question is, when am I going to stop? When I go from this form to the next form. So that probably would be never, if you're looking at me stopping, but maybe in this present one day, in this body, I will stop doing it in this body.
Yes,
but that energy, that love, that creative ability to continue to go on, that will always exist because you can't destroy energy.
That's right.
So that's an honest answer to your question with all due respect.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and that's how I like the boys, the young fellas and the young sisters to acknowledge and know they have talents and abilities and know-hows of things that they can do and that they love to do. You have to find a way to continue to express your talent even when other people tell you that you can't.
All praise is due to Allah.
All praise is due to
Allah. But I
Allah.
think that's a good ending. I think we're going to end up on that note because I think you said a lot that our community need to hear. And a quick shout out to that. I also know you from my other brother-in-law, Brother Sean Birch, Shay B.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My lifetime, even though we grew up together. My childhood sweetheart, who I happen to still be married to, Sister Stephanie.
Wow,
so, it's a wonderful, wonderful
definitely
thing.
Peace.
Yes. I'm thinking
peace.
I want to send a shout out to him too because I know he stayed in the East Camden area all the time with that. But community is always great to sit down and talk to real people that we can identify with in our community who have done and continue to do some amazing things in the city of Camden. You heard Brother Badi talk about, what he's doing now, and I know that you feel comfortable that you can take your child down to the gym for some mentorship. He's connected with a whole bunch of people here in the city, even if he can't do it and they don't want to do boxing. It's something else that they can do to get connected with some great mentors that help to change his life and to be around that kind of energy that he brings. So as always, keep it positive. Stay positive. Love yourself and love your kind as I greet you as I came to you with the greetings of peace. Peace be unto you. Thank you, my friend.